we got a super clear trade opportunity coming up with Mara. I'm going to show you guys what I mean by that. But first, in order to set up and explain this a lot better, Trump, the US president, spoke with Congress today, and he did reassure his move towards strengthening tariffs. Um, we still have that tariff news, it's still out there. Tariff fear is still there, and we're not out of those waters just yet. I kept saying in previous videos, we can see this tariff fear continue to linger throughout this entire month of March, right? But now understanding that he is not, weakening off of tariffs, if that's the word, what can we be looking forward with Mara in order to get that clear trade opportunity that I'm talking about, right? We're going to go over the big picture on Mara. We're going to go over Bitcoin, the big picture on Bitcoin as well, how those structures that we're going to be looking at cover potential tariff fears throughout the rest of this month, and how can we take advantage of that clear trade opportunity with Mara as well, right? And we got to remember too that tariffs they don't stay aggressive forever. Soon enough, because a lot of these countries that are getting hit hard with tariffs, they can't sustainably just accept that for a long period of time, and eventually negotiations will be done. This happens many times in the past. It's gonna happen again. These countries just can't handle these tariffs for a long period of time. So eventually the fear will go away. Things will loosen up a little bit with tariffs, and then we'll be back and rolling into new rallies coming up soon. So before we jump into Mara though, to get a better understanding of what Bitcoin is doing, what it has done, and how this can influence the structure going forward, right? Now here's the thing, right? We had a massive rally from back here all the way up. This is early 2024. We had a massive rally. Then we had a long period of consolidation due to, this time around, interest rate fears. We're still dealing with that, but there was interest rate fears going up, and eventually they started coming down. But during this time, this time of fear in Bitcoin, we still had a lot of institutional buying. Even though retail kept fearing out, we have a lot of institutional buying, and there's a lot of background buying. The demand keeps outweighing supply, and then as soon enough, fear starts to go away, and a lot of that background buying, now on top of retail that started buying, we started seeing the price run up a lot. Super positive, right? Now, just like that previous run up, this is very similar. We had a big run up, and now we're seeing that consolidation phase. Same thing. Retail is being very bearish right now. They're feared out, and there is a lot of background institutional buying still going on. So eventually, just like the previous structure, we still have strong demand, much stronger demand than supply. So supply and demand is good. We can cross that out. And during this time, again, retail scared, institutions keep buying, they keep accumulating in the background, and we're seeing that run up, just like in the previous one, that run up start to get factored in by moving sideways quite a bit before we can move up higher. So everything is the same. The only reason, or the only difference this time, is that instead of interest rates being the major fear, we have tariff fears. So these tariffs are they created a new bearish structure over, like, this entire sideways structure got finally it broke out of it to the downside because of tariff fears, right? What we've seen is we have that CME gap at 77K. That basically got filled. It didn't reach that exact 77K level, but it did max out these supportive red areas. We've seen these areas max out plenty of times in the past. We have one here, and then again, just recently, we had a new one filled completely. These tend to be very strong buying opportunities and tend to also indicate a potential bottom in the current structure that we're looking at. We saw a potential bottom here. It started rallying. We were getting ready to rally higher, but then we had the Bybit hack, and we had more tariff fears. So it got invalidated and it came down. We had one here, rallied, and then of course it was going to work its way back up after this one. Tariff fears ruined it. This one, indication of a bottom, and it rallied up higher. we started consolidating much higher than the previous swing low. We were working our way up, but now due to the new structure because of fear, well, what can we be looking at, and how is this going to make sense with Mara to get that the sweet clear trade opportunity that I'm talking about? Well, quite simply, right? We ran up, we maxed out this retracement area, we came back down, we started using previous imbalance and this previous retracement area as a support, and so far is holding up quite well. We are above the 120 moving average. RSI has not maxed out yet, indicating potential more, a potential like another higher move coming up to try to max out this yellow or orange retracement area, and also to max out the imbalance area as well. So we still have some bullish momentum potentially building. If we break below this 120 moving average, then we're going to be looking at much lower prices below 84K in my opinion. So the 120 moving average over tonight and throughout this weekend, if we continue, not this weekend, this week, if we continue to see consolidation sideways and it breaks below the 120 moving average, again, likely we're going below 84K. But if we continue to hold above it and finally start making a little bit of a higher high, higher low within the smaller picture, then we can start looking at these liquidity lines up here, these walls, especially the 90K one. If it breaks, then we can be looking up higher to the weekly liquidity at 95K, right? So that's the upside pressure. Downside, it won't last very long. Again, I said this many times. The nature of these discounted, deep discount levels cannot be sustained that long because there's too much background buying in Bitcoin, regardless of retail selling. And the price of Bitcoin cannot sustain itself at extreme discounted levels for too long before the price has to pump back up, because there's just too much buying going on either way. So the way this translates into Mara is that if you're looking at, right, like not just this overall picture on Bitcoin, right? We're moving sideways. We're holding nice round 100K levels as we progress. We're progressing through Q1 of this year in 2025. We're holding those sustained levels, showing a strong foundation for the price to rally up higher. And then what that means is that now, as tariff fears begin to fade away soon enough, we will start seeing risk on assets like Bitcoin, which is classified as one, starting to show that strength, and a lot of money will start flowing back into these as well. Once the market realizes that tariffs aren't actually going to be effect potentially, we'll see how future economic data gets released. But if tariffs aren't actually causing as much inflation, or if things are just not as bad as expected, we will start seeing a lot more money go into these risk on assets, right? And then we'll see Bitcoin starting to go up. We can either see it continue to go up from here, or we can come down and then go up. Both of these pathways are bullish. The only difference is that the second one delays that new bullish, stronger move up. It delays it by a little bit because, again, if we go down, we'll be stretching down a bit, and we'll just it's not gonna last long. So the way this influences Mara is just like in Bitcoin. Mara is very much deep discounted, but the thing is, Mara is accumulating a lot more Bitcoin in their balance sheet. They have a very well operating mining facilities. They are holding on to a lot of Bitcoin. They don't have to sell all of their Bitcoin to pay their expenses, so they hold on a lot. They hold on to a lot of their Bitcoin, and they also buy Bitcoin on the spot market. So these sustained levels, again, will not last very long. If we do see Bitcoin come down again, Bitcoin can be sustained like below 80K for that long. Right now it is in the 80Ks, but if it were to come down below 84 and try to make its way back down into the 70s, it's just not going to last long. We're going to see a big potential recovery, just like we saw previously when it maxed out that red area. And then that can also reflect on Mara, where we can see Mara come back down. There'll be a super clear buying opportunity. I mean, even right now, Mara is a really good deal below $15. If you're looking at Mara right now, it's a really great buying opportunity, in my opinion, because if you're looking to hold on to this throughout the rest of the bull run, when we finally start recovering, tariff fears go away, and then you have Bitcoin starting to recover to make a new high, that's going to reflect the Mara. So I believe Mara is going to be much, much higher, well above $20. As we can progress throughout 2025. So right now it's amazing. But if instead of Bitcoin rallying up higher, if a lot of this fear then filters into Bitcoin as we continue through the rest of this week and the rest of March, then that's going to reflect on Mara. If Mara comes down and starts retesting any of these lows, and if the moment Mara, if it does dip into the spread area, it's a strong buying opportunity. Super clear trade opportunity. It just doesn't get any better than that. The moment, I mean, right now it's great. It's great if you have that time horizon. But if if Mara does reflect Bitcoin when Bitcoin, if it comes down in the short term, again, it won't last very long. And we'll see a quick recovery after, in my opinion. We're going to be back at 100K soon enough and back into the 90s. But if that were to happen and Mara comes down again, retesting any of these swing lows, the buy does not get any more clear than that, because soon enough Bitcoin will go up. We'll see it strengthen the structure by consolidating enough and then pop up, and then we'll see Mara finally starting to not just successfully break over the 120 moving average, which acted as resistance right here quite well. We can see it break over this and try to finally start trading above this long-term support line. As you can see, the support line has been very strong. And before the tariff news, before all that fear came up, Mara right here was holding that support line. If none of this tariff news came out, we'll see Bitcoin higher. We'll see Mara trading above the moving average and trying to retest these resistance areas inside these imbalances right here. We would be making our way into the 20s. But when you have an asset that is just performing really well and it's growing in popularity and there's so much money backing it up and more money keeps flowing into it, but then you have something that's not really related to it cause fear to pull it down, like it doesn't become any better than this. Underneath this trend, this like support line that I showed you guys, super strong buying opportunity, because any price below that is basically based off of fear due to an outside related event. So right now it's super good. But again, if we do start testing any of these lows, and if Bitcoin drops and Mara happens to even dip its toes into this red area down here, oh man, the buying opportunity does not get any more clear than that. This red area is just yelling amazing buying opportunity. It's going to be an amazing purchase, and I do believe if even in this area, it's going to provide easily, like even from current price throughout this year, I eventually believe Mara will go up 100%, and it can be up into the 30s by the end of this year at some point. But the moment, and it just doesn't get any clearer than this, guys. If Mara comes down here, which is very possible, if a lot of this news or tariffs and all that get worse and it causes a lot more fear, and we see Mara come down due to Bitcoin falling, it just doesn't, man, it doesn't get any more clear than that, guys. Right now it's great. Over here it's just crazy if you don't start accumulating, in my opinion. It is, I'm just repeating myself at this point, but you guys know what I'm trying to say. And then soon enough we'll be rallying back up, breaking past these resistances, starting to use this as support once again, and then we back into the 20s. Probably not this month. It just depends on tariffs, how they evolve through the rest of this month. But later this year, like guys, before this bull market ends, I strongly believe Mara won't just be in the 20s, but it can easily break into the 30s. And if you don't think this is a good enough buying opportunity, if Mara even touches this red area, man, it doesn't get any better than that. It doesn't get any better than that to accumulate. It really doesn't, because I don't, just like in Bitcoin, if Bitcoin falls enough to push Mara all the way down here, Bitcoin's not gonna stay that low for that long, and eventually it'll recover because it's too deep value for it to stay down there for too long. And then you have Mara reflect that, potentially touching this red area, But even the moment Bitcoin, just even if it goes to below 84, and especially below 80, regardless where Mara is at, it just doesn't get any more clear than that. Super great buying opportunity. If we see sub 13 on Mara, it's just beautiful, and especially sub 12. It just doesn't get any better than that, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Excuse me. I hope you guys understand that nothing has changed with Bitcoin. Nothing has changed with these companies. We just have a lot of fear in the broad economic field right now due to tariffs, and that's what's causing these discounted prices, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.